there any public comment for this evening? Please identify yourself and where you're with.
Dan, Upper Marion. Good evening, guys. Sue Ellen. I've been doing some research lately and found some interesting stats. Upper Marion employed 462 part and full-time employees in 2016 at the cost of about $18 million gross pay paid for by the taxpayers, which is, good. Who authorizes and oversees the salaries? Is it Dave or is it you guys?
Actually, it's both. We have a process in place where individuals who have base salaries, they have a salary range that they work within. The individuals who manage those departments are responsible for annual performance reviews of the individuals. We have a pay-for-performance program, which we implemented 2 years ago, so that individuals who perform at an average rate would be given an average or possibly no increase for the year. Those who exceed performance expectations might get a little bit more than the average. Those averages are all calculated and determined based upon a variety of factors, all of which go through a human resource director, and those actually come to us from various federal agencies and also employment groups who determine wage rates for this region. Obviously, the wage rates for this region are higher than the wage rates for central Pennsylvania, and to keep a competitive salary and compete and individuals of high quality, we need to pay for performance.
Correct, good. So that answers one of my questions. So I guess that also might answer how you decide on a salary for a new position. It's probably a very similar process.
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, to be honest with you, we actually had a compensation survey done a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, which was for all department heads, and
it was for all full-time positions in the organization.
Okay, good. It's a little concerning to me as I did my research, because I did a bunch of comparisons with other local townships and municipalities that are very similar to Upper Marion throughout Pennsylvania and in the area. And I found that for the positions, I picked 10 random positions and got salaries and information from Upper Marion. And the other townships are about $8,000 to $12,000 over the national average for a position. We're a little bit higher. Dave, not to say anything about you, you're a great guy, you're the township manager. An average township manager makes $76,000 a year. A city manager, national average, is $106,000 a year. These figures are as of October 30th this year. Does anybody want to guess how much Dave made last year? Not to say anything personally, but it's public knowledge, so I'm not picking on anybody.
We know what Mr. Crane is.
He made $181,000 last year.
And if I could add something, that might be a national average, but if you check what township managers make in the region, it's actually right in the middle of it.
I just said that. They're about $8,000 to $12,000 over the national average from the ones that I've done.
If you take a look at second-class townships or first-class townships in a 5-county suburban area of Philadelphia, they make a little bit more than that. I mean, township managers are well paid.
So I guess it's the old adage, if he jumps off a bridge, I'll jump off a bridge with him?
No, I think it's the old adage of, we exist in a very competitive marketplace.
We do.
We want good people, and we want people to do a good job. We have to pay.
So people that are getting paid $76,000 are not qualified people?
You cannot get a competent, excellent township manager in the Philadelphia metropolitan area.
That's fine.
In a second-class township or municipality similar to Upper Marion for $76,000.
No problem. So Dave's,
So again,
go ahead.
if you're looking at folks from central Pennsylvania or even western Pennsylvania.
No, I did similar in the area.
Okay, so not every township manager deals with some of the things that we do.
Oh, of course, nothing's always the same. Nothing's exact. I understand that. But the problem I'm seeing a pattern here, because Dave got paid roughly $78,000 over the national average. Sally, assistant township manager, that position is about $55,000 national average. She got paid $133,000 last year. So actually, Dave was $105,000 over national average. Sally's $78,000 over the national average. Dan, nothing against you. You're a great guy. For your position, national average is $57,000. You got paid over $104,000 last year, which is $47,000 over the national average. So
have you taken into account the fact that the budgets that
there's a lot of factors. I understand. I'm just making a general statement.
I get that, but when you make general statements, sometimes you put your foot, right? So
Nope, not this time.
Sometimes you're comparing apples to oranges and then not always the same.
I'm making a generic point is what I'm getting to. That's all. It's just a very, I'll get to it real quick. I'll get to it real quick. So, Ed O'Brien, that position as a public works director, his average is 82,000. He got 141, that's 60,000 over national average. So what I'm seeing is I'm seeing that we're not just a little bit over the national average, we're a skyrocket, a mile high above the national average. And I'm kind of wondering why, but I got one more point to make before you answer that. Police officers, national average in PA make 52,500. Doylestown average is 59, Harrisburg's 50,000, Westchester's 55,000, Philadelphia, they only average $56,000 a year. Pittsburgh, $51,000 a year. We have an officer.
Police chief in Philadelphia makes like
No, these are parole officers. These are just officers, okay? So, we had a police officer last year that made $170,000 last year. We had another one that made $136,000 last year. We had another one that made $143,000 last year. And these are just foot patrol people. They're not sergeants or lieutenants or captains. They're just regular, everyday police. And that's unbelievable compared to the national average. I understand that we're above the national average. I understand that we want to pay a good person for a good pay. But to be that much higher, to me, is interesting. So, police chief Tom Nolan, average is 102 for a police chief in Pennsylvania. He made $184,000. He's $82,000 over national average. So we got so many positions that are so high above the national average, which is just concerning to me, and I'm not quite sure why you guys need to do that. Is my real question. So my final point is, you get your money from taxes, and we just went through that, and we all know that taxation is pure theft because they never ratified the 16th Amendment by 2/3 of the states. But that's neither here nor there. So I think you guys, you do a good job budgeting. Our taxes haven't gone up like you said, but you must be rolling in some money to not raise our taxes. To not raise our taxes and to pay these people these exorbitant amount of money is telling me one thing. Your job is to save taxpayer money. Your job is to not waste money. Your job is to budget money. And I don't really think that you guys are not bad, but I don't think you're doing the service that you can be doing. So I think you need to budget your stolen taxes a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a public service. A lot of people pay for efficient experts. A lot of money to pay for an efficiency expert. A lot of money. I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to sit down with the heads of the departments. I'm going to follow them around for a day. I'm going to film them. I'm going to post it. And I'm going to have the citizens decide if what they see in a day constitutes the money that we're paying them. I think that's a great idea. What do you think?
Well, Mr. Tass, you raised some excellent points.
Thank you.
For an individual who does some basic research. I would suggest to you that if you did real research, you looked at the fact that, yes, a Philadelphia police officer might make $56,000 as a starting salary. However, then you have to add in the overtime, you have to add in the court time, you have to add in all of the other reimbursable overtime that they make. And I'll guarantee you that there's not one Philadelphia police officer that's making $56,000 a year. And if they are only making $56,000, it's because that's all that they want to make. My point is that your numbers are based upon data that probably came, and I can almost guess the website that you got them all from. They are based upon fundamental research and data that's gained from those communities. It does not take into account operational impacts that those communities have on a day-to-day basis. Point number one. Point number two, we operate and have operated for the law enforcement agency under contract here for many, many years. Whatever the police officer gets is governed by whatever that collective bargaining agreement. It started, I don't even know when it started, but it has to have been in place for about 40 years.
They must have a heck of a guy in charge then to get paid that kind of money.
But I would suggest to you that if you're going to compare what our police officers make, you look at what that entire compensation package is composed of, because many of those workers, many of those police officers actually do get money for working the mall. They'll work a street shift for directing traffic, and those are reimbursed to Upper Marion Township by those entities, whether it's a Lockheed Martin, or whether it's the mall, whether it's Universal Health Services, whatever the case might be.
The numbers I put out were just gross salaries, gross pay is all it was. That's all those numbers are.
And that takes into account all of that. That's not just what they get for going out and doing their patrol or their detective work. And it doesn't count the court time that they spend either. So that's that one area. Then we look at what we've done with members of our staff in public works. Now, they have been working a lot of overtime recently. We're in leave pickup time. So rather than hire additional people, it is sometimes more cost effective to pay overtime, and then those individuals are going to have a little higher salary than maybe others do. They're also working a little bit more hours, work a little bit harder for it. I would suggest that if you compared like apples, instead of just comparing what is done in all communities across the Commonwealth. I came from another one of those communities. I know what the police chief was making in that community. It was $35,000. Okay? Smaller community, less service that they have to provide, similar service, but still less service. But there's just no equity between the size of the community, the demand of the job, and what is commanded by the neighboring communities. So I would encourage you, if you want to make a comparison, go for it.
I already have.
I want you to go talk to Lower Merion.
Already did.
Okay? I want you to go talk to Upper Moreland.
Plymouth.
I want you to talk to Ben Salem Township. I want you to go to like communities, Upper Dublin.
Already
I'll use
have.
a national
Did 10 of them.
average or statewide average.
Very similar.
You're doing what Mr. Phillips said. You're comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah, it's a shame that you guys just have this habit of just shooting to the stars. There's no reason, there's no other township that I've researched is that far away from the national average.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What do you do for a living?
Why does that matter?
Because I'm asking you a question.
Well, then I'm going to respond by saying, why does that matter?
Because I'm asking you a question.
My answer is, why does that matter?
Well, that's not an answer.
Yes, it is.
So you can either.
I don't answer questions.
You've asked us to enter into a dialogue with you. So what do you do for a living?
I don't answer questions.
You've offered to be an efficiency expert. Do you have any expertise in being an efficiency?
I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to do a community service.
You know,
I'm going to follow you guys around. I'm going to put the camera at
You
you.
get what you pay for.
You
right?
sure do.
So you have.
Don't be ashamed to have me do it. Don't be afraid.
Absolutely zero for your freedom, right? So what do you do for a living, Mr. Jones?
I hold public officials accountable. How's that? Okay?
So in order to hold a public official accountable, you really need to know more about what you're talking about. So far you've come here with generality.
No, I come here with facts and figures, okay? It's a national average. It's not saying everything's the same. I'm not saying that you guys are crazy. I'm not saying you guys are too. My point is, it's across the board.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. We're paying this. It doesn't matter. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for saying our taxes doesn't matter. What we pay. You say it doesn't matter if it's across the board.
My words tomorrow.
You just, I don't have to twist anything. You just said it doesn't matter.
Look, we're going to stop this.
Of course we are, because now you're getting put into a corner.
You haven't put me in a corner.
That's why we're stopping
What
this.
you've done is you've made yourself look silly.
No, it's just the
Because
opposite.
You don't seem to understand that what you're trying to do is to take this generality and put it into this box. You're taking a square peg and trying to put it.
I'm just asking a question, why we're so much higher above the national average?
That much higher.
You're not that much. 78,000, 105,000, 91,000, 118,000, 97,000. You're way above it.
And once again, you know what, comparing apples to oranges.
If that's what you guys want to tell yourself, and that's what you want to tell the township and citizens, that's fine.
A small community.
That's fine.
People in the middle of
It's a very simple question.
Have you compared us to Lower Merion? Have you compared us to Radford? Have you compared us to Tradition? Have you compared us to...
I compared you to the national average.
What is a regular patrolman making in the lower Merion?
Probably about 10,000 over the national average.
What is that?
You tell me.
seem to think that $56,000 is the national average. What is Lower Merion's patrolman making?
You tell me, you seem to know.
No.
Oh, you wouldn't ask that question.
I'm coming here and saying, hey, look at us.
I'm not saying look at us, I'm asking a very simple question. We pay for this. Is what we pay for worth it? That's my question.
It is absolutely worth it.
Okay, then let's prove it. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. What do you mean why? We're paying the bill.
How about the people that have...
Yeah, they're paying the bill too.
I'm sorry. Would you like to let me answer your question?
If you want to talk over me, go ahead.
What about the folks that have used these services where our police department have gone up and above beyond...
That's great.
Save their lives.
Great.
To you, that's not the service they should be getting, right?
Who said that? Why are you putting words in my mouth?
You think that they're overpaid.
I didn't say that, but I'm asking a question. Why we're so much above the national
How many times
average?
have you gone into our police officers' faces with your camera?
0.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Really?
I don't go in anybody's faces. I stand on public property and hold public officials.
You police cars and you cursed out the police officers.
Really? Show me that. There's a
Go to
video.
YouTube, I mean, go to YouTube.
I have a channel there.
Anybody here can go to your YouTube,
Yep.
you can see it. You know, a 2 or 3 minute run up, you're walking up with the camera in the car, you're mouthing off to the police officers, and you're walking away and you're calling them names.
So you're defamatory me. Good. I'm glad you just admitted that because I don't have one video that has that. Thank you so much for
You
admitting
don't
that.
have videos on there where you're walking away from police officers and calling them names? There's
Oh,
video.
not local, not local. Only the people that have broken the law and have detained me illegally. And once they realize they've detained me illegally and let me go, I will call them exactly what they are.
No, Dan.
Yes, sir. Okay, name the example where I did that besides.
There's video after video on YouTube, I've seen them all.
Right? With
I can't say
me?
that I've seen them all, I've seen enough. I've seen more than enough.
All right, so we're getting off path here. You're making apples and oranges again here. You're deflecting the truth. Again, I'm just asking a point.
You've made.
Right,
you've
my
made
point
several
is-
points tonight.
right.
Do you have any other points you'd like to make?
Why you guys are that high above national average, that's all. That's my only point. And number two is, when can I start doing a daily and sit down with Dave and Dan and people and actually videotape their process for the day?
I'm gonna have to talk to legal counsel about the viability of that. You're gonna have to sign waivers and.
No problem.
Minimum, but
No problem.
I'm gonna have to have a discussion with our solicitor.
I think it'd be a great community service.